This is how firefighters achieve containment. A bulldozer has just come down here getting rid of the fire's fuel. You can see how it stopped the fire line. Now they're going to extinguish the flames with their hoses. We're in Sonoma County here on the fire lines with crews who are battling the Nuns fire. This is one of the biggest fires with the least amount of containment. I want to show you how they're doing it. You can see the fire just tore through here, and they actually let it burn right up to the road. They want to make sure it doesn't have any more fuel to continue burning. Right now, the winds are also moving this way, so it's called a backfire. The fire is moving more slowly back down the hill, but this morning we've seen the winds driving these flames, winds up to 61 miles per hour. You can see they've got the aircraft out this morning dropping all over these hillsides, dropping as much water as they can to try to slow this thing down. It has been wind driven for hours now. We've watched as the wind has been at our fronts and then suddenly at our backs, moving around. Check out this, a bulldozer, a giant bulldozer just came down here, created this line. He's getting rid of trees and fuel for the fire, and you can see how well it works. Just look, this fire all still smoldering. It literally just went out. So very effective technique, clearly. I want to bring in Brian McLean. He is with CAL FIRE here. He's been showing us around this morning. Brian, how do you explain what's just been done right here this morning?
So the fire was backing down the hill here, as you saw. The bulldozer came down, made a line, brings it down to bare mineral soil so the fire can't continue to back down here.
Okay, we're just gonna move over here because we got people moving through. And then these guys are standing by with their water, with their hoses to put any flames out that they need to as well.
Correct. So we have all these engines stationed on the structures, doing structure protection to ensure none of this gets into those structures and damages them.
Let's talk a little bit about the evacuation this morning. So we've been out here for a few hours, but at 5 a.m. they evacuated a large part of this area here in Sonoma County, an area called Oakmont. Hundreds of residents had to get out of their beds in the middle of the night once again, like a repeat of the night these firestorms began.
Correct. The incident has certain trigger points to where the fire hits that will establish an evacuation for a certain area. And last night with the winds, it hit those trigger points, which initiated the mandatory evacuation of the Oakmont area.
And police were knocking on doors and hustling people out this morning because those fires were on the way there.
Correct.
And we've been watching the fires this morning kind of come up over a ridge. We actually saw the top of the ridge line going up in flames as these large trees went up in flames. Really, really, really dramatic stuff.
Right, we've had a lot of erratic winds. As you can see earlier, we had winds headed that way, headed this way, and then they would switch a couple minutes later. So it was a really dynamic scene. But by getting the dozers and the crews in here, they're able to tie it all together to these roads to ensure that the fire is controlled in certain areas.
So since this whole incident broke out less than a week ago now, is this as close to an emergency situation as we've seen since Sunday and Monday?
It's been a more active evening since the initial activity that happened, yes.
Yeah. So you've got aircraft in the sky today as well, which is something you're not able to do on all days, correct?
So we've had what's called an inversion layer the last couple of days where you've experienced the kind of fog, but it's all smoke. So if the aircraft cannot see the fire, they can't get low enough to make drops effectively. So with the winds that we had last night, it blew all of that out. So as you can see, we have clear sky, and they're able to get the bucket drops in from the helicopters that you've seen and start air tankers. One
of the things that we've been watching this morning with Brian, we were standing up on a ridge looking at this beautiful home that firefighters were working very hard to protect. You see how painstaking the work is. They're doing everything they can to try to get rid of any fuel, anything that the fire might catch on. So even using saws, chainsaws, to get rid of low-hanging branches so that the fire doesn't jump from the grass to the tree to the house.
Correct. What you saw was the strike team of engines, which is 5 engines of the same type with the leader. They're a functional unit. They came in, went around those structures. We're being aggressive and getting rid of those ladder fuels, which is that brush we were talking about that takes fire from the grass up through the brush into the trees. So they're getting rid of that so that the fire intensity stays lower, kind of what we saw with that backing fire, yes.
So these guys right now, they're about to put out these hot spots and make sure that this thing is totally extinguished?
Correct. These crews will stay here. They'll monitor this line because, of course, we don't want to get it into what we call the green over
Right.
there. So they'll continue to stay here and monitor this, continue to protect these structures.
It's fascinating work, and the strategy involved in fighting these fires has been really interesting to learn about.
It takes a lot of coordination, a lot of hard work. We've had crews, unlimited sleep, high stress, still aggressively
Unlimited, the
attacking.
opposite of unlimited sleep. You've had no sleep.
Sorry, no sleep. Exactly.
Very limited
Exactly.
sleep. Very limited sleep.
So very limited sleep, but they're still being aggressive in their tactics to protect houses and to try and control this fire.
And as we've watched the winds kind of move erratically this morning, you really get an idea of why you have said to everybody, you guys have told all residents in this area to be paying very close attention to emergency services, because these things change minute to minute, hour to hour. You don't know when you're going to need people to evacuate.
Absolutely, and life safety is our priority. So the more people heed those warnings, the less risk of life safety and the detriment to that out here when we're trying to take care of this.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the good work that you all do. We're going to keep you updated here on ABC News. Stick around with us.